evening, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Washington County Board of Education. At this time, I call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum. We have 6 members present. It is my pleasure to introduce to you this evening Benjamin Snyder, a 4th grade student at Pleasant Valley Elementary School. Benjamin is here this evening to lead us all in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. So please join us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Hi, Benjamin.
Hello.
Ben, you like to be called Ben, right?
Yep,
So Ben, tomorrow's a special day, is it not?
it is.
It is. What's happening tomorrow?
We're out of school.
Oh, there you go. It's the last day of school. But I understand that you like school. Is that right? And you do well in school?
Yep,
You have a favorite subject?
math. I like math.
All right. That makes our Mr. Prue in the back there, makes him very happy to hear that. Makes us all happy to hear that. When you're not in school loving math, Ben, what kinds of things do you enjoy doing?
I like wrestling, football, and I like riding our boat in the summer and fishing.
Wow.
And I also like going for hikes.
So you're an outdoorsman, huh?
Yep.
Great, great. Ben, do you have some folks here with you this evening that you would like to introduce to us?
I have my dad, Jeff, my mom, Annie, my brother, Bradley, my principal, Miss Gray, and my teacher, Miss Poling.
Well, thank you all for being here in support of Ben. We appreciate having him here this evening. So Ben, my investigative team put together these notes that I let you take a peek at. It says here that you are always a kind and respectful student, and you always work hard to do your best in all of your work. That's quite a compliment, Ben.
Thank you.
We thank you for being such an outstanding student and a
Thank you.
good role model for your peers. And I wish you a great summer. I hope you have a great day tomorrow on the last day, and I wish you a safe and happy summer. Thanks
you.
for being here, Ben.
Thank you.
At this time, I have approval of this evening's agenda. Is there a motion, please?
So move.
Thank you, Mr. Stauffer. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Zedmeyer. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approval? Okay, thank you. We have a unanimous vote of 6. We have an approved agenda. We'll move to approval of the minutes.
So I move for the approval of work session minutes dated Tuesday, May 16th, 2023.
Thank you, Mrs. Murray. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Zedmeyer. Are there any additions or corrections to the work session minutes dated May 16th, 2023? Well, all those in favor of approval of those minutes? All right, we have 6 affirmative, so we have a unanimous approval.
President Williams, I move for the approval of closed session minutes dated Tuesday, May 16th, 2023.
Thank you, Mrs. Murray. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Zedmeyer. All those in favor of approving the closed session minutes dated May 16th, 2023? Thank you. 6 affirmative. It's a unanimous vote.
President Williams, I move for the approval of business minutes dated Tuesday, May 16th, 2023.
Thank you, Mrs. Murray. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes of the business meeting dated May 16th, 2023? All right, we'll move to the vote All those in favor of approval? Okay, thank you. We have unanimously approved all 3 sets of minutes. At this time, we will have the start of the superintendent's report, and we'll continue after new business. Dr. Savine.
Thank you, President Williams and members of the board. I'm excited that we have 4 recognitions this evening that highlight the success and achievements of our students and staff. We'll begin with Dr. Jennifer Webster, our Associate Superintendent for Administration and Leadership, who's going to introduce one of our recent graduates who demonstrated remarkable character and courage in our community here recently.
Good evening, Mrs. Williams, members of the board, Dr. Savine. It is my pleasure this evening to bring you Williamsport High School graduate Tucker Bubaz. And Tucker is here this evening because we wanted to present an award for an act of humanity and kindness on behalf of one of our students that benefited one of our staff members. And Tucker this evening is joined by his mom's best friend, and his principal, Mr. Knoll. So we thank them for coming out to support Tucker this evening. So early in May, Tucker was on his way to school, as every high school senior diligently, right, is doing as they enter the end of their senior year. And on his way to high school, he witnessed one of our staff members having a car accident. And that car accident, thankfully, the staff member is okay. Her car, not so much. But Tucker, when witnessing this, when most people went about their day, Tucker stopped and stayed with the staff member to support and provide comfort and kindness during that time. And she's, oh, you're actually here too. Oh, hello. So she's not, I was like, someone is very happy about what I'm saying. And it was our staff member who Tucker supported. So we really felt like it was important that Tucker's acts be acknowledged for that kindness and care that he showed to a stranger that turned out to be one of our own staff members. So Tucker, thank you so much, and it's my pleasure to present you with this certificate of achievement on behalf of the superintendent.
Ready to get up 3, 1, 2, 3, one more, 1, 2.
Good job, Tucker.
Thank you, Dr. Webster, and Tucker, thank you for being such a conscientious citizen. We're so proud of you, and congratulations on your recent graduation. Next, I'm going to invite Eric Michael, our Supervisor of Athletics, Health, and Physical Education, to come forward. We have several state champion athletes to recognize this evening as well.
Good evening. My pleasure this evening to introduce our state champions. We've had a very successful spring sports season this year in Washington County. Several region championships, One unique thing this year in talking of region championships was, I think for the first time ever, we had a boys and girl doubleheader region championship with Smithsburg lacrosse team winning both of those. And then we, as we said, Clear Spring had region championship in baseball. We had a three-way tie in tennis championship, and then Smithsburg girls also were region champions in track and field. But tonight we're here to celebrate our state champions. We have some teams that we're going to introduce tonight, and we also have some individuals that we're going to honor tonight. So first up tonight, we're going to start with South Hagerstown Unified Track Team. They were the Division III state champions for the Unified Track and Field meet this year. We're going to start first with the head coach, Ashley Park Rouse. And assistant coach, Rebecca Wright. And those team members that are in attendance with us tonight, Michael Bland, Isabella Cross, Giselle Johnson, Seth Messersmith, and Madison Twig. This is the Division III 2023 Unified Track and Field champions.
Looking good. All right, good smells here in 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2. Congratulations.
And staying with the Unified Track and Field, this year in the Division II, we have Williamsport, where they were the state champions. And here with us tonight, our head coach, Paula Spruce. Athletes, Kaylee Brown. Madison Cantner. Noah Kaufman. Angel Ciampo. Avery Long. Gabby Norrie. And Autumn Slick. This is your Division II Unified State Champions.
All right. Finish your smiles here in 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Last one. 1, 2. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And now we have our individuals that won championships this year. We're going to start tonight with tennis. Williamsboro had a very successful year. As I said, they actually has a three-way tie for region championship, which is kind of unheard of. But again, very successful. Tonight with us is Coach Myers, who is the head coach, and Coach Rao, Jordan Rao. And the first Actually, this is doubles. They're the 1A doubles girls champion. Cameron Rao is not with us tonight, but she was one part of that team. And then here with us tonight is Larissa Blair. And then in 1A boys singles, this is second year in a row, Hunter Lau, and again, Boonesboro High School. Hunter is a sophomore, and I believe, if I'm correct, he is undefeated at this time in high school. These are your tennis champions for this year.
Represent Meyer a little bit to your right. Miss Williams a little bit to your left. All right. Smiles here on 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Last one. 1, 2. Congratulations.
Scott.
And as a tradition in Washington County, we usually do very, very well in the track and field events. This year is no exception. So tonight I'm going to introduce our track champions. We're going to start with Class 1A. In Class 1A girls track from Boonesboro High School, state champion in pole vault, Michaela Carney. And then we're going to shift down 66 to Smithsburg High School. Smithsburg had 2 relay teams. These girls are very successful all year. If you watch them, I don't think, put it this way, they weren't beat very much. But the first group is the 4x800 meter relay team, the 1A champions. The first name I'm going to introduce is Grace Ellis. Grace was actually part of both relay teams, the 4x800 and the 4x400. Next, we have, as part of the 4x800 relay, Ella Fisher. Still 4x800 relay, Cora Gensel. And then the last person, as part of the 4x800 team, Kayla Hallbecker. And as I said, Grace was part of the 4x400 meter relay championship for 1A. Also not with us tonight was Amanda Hallbecker and Taylor King. Neither one of them are with us tonight. But anchoring that leg, or relay team, was Kylie Snyder. Now I'd say this next young man is no stranger to us here. Cameron Rejonis from Smithsburg High School was the 800 meter run champion this year in 1A. If you remember back to indoor track, that time I said he was 8-time champion, which was tied for the most in Washington County. So obviously this makes 9 if you're doing your math, and he is now has the most championships of anyone in Washington County, and he's a track athlete. So congratulations. And then moving to 3A, we have Lauren Stein from North Hagerstown High School. Lauren was a 3,200 meter run champion. And if you watch Lauren, she consistently kept improving and improving. She is a sophomore, so we're looking forward to a lot of excitement from her in the next couple of years, as well as the other athletes here that are underclassmen. They're at the top of they're top of every meet they're in. Also with us tonight, we do have the coaches from North Hagerstown. Coach Abe and Coach Miller are here as well, supporting Lauren. Our track champions for this year. And in our last championship team, actually, we don't have anyone here tonight representing Clear Spring Baseball. Most of them, as we know, graduation was last week. A lot of them are seniors and are out of town this week. So again, I just want to acknowledge Clear Spring Baseball was the 1A state champions. If anyone has followed that, they were repeat. They won the state championship last year. And I'll just say this, that group overcame a lot this year in terms of, they had some fallen teammates that they were playing for, but also they were defending state champions, so everybody was gunning for them all year long. So they played some tough games in the region. They played more extra innings than anybody, I think, in the state. They had 2 regular season. They played 2. And as fittingly, if you don't know, I mean, in the 11th inning, 3-2 was the final score with a walk-off home run. Can't get any better than that. So congratulations to Clear Spring, repeat 1A state champion in baseball.
Continuing on with recognition this evening, WCPS is proud to recognize this year's Carson Scholars. I'll ask Helen Huffer, Supervisor of School Counseling, to share more about this award and introduce these student honorees.
Good evening, Mrs. Williams, members of the board, and Dr. Savine. I'm Helen Huffer, Supervisor of School Counseling. I'm here tonight to present the Carson Scholar recipients for this year. The Carson Scholars Fund receives applications from bright, talented, and dedicated students throughout the nation. Applicants are nominated by their school based on their high academic achievement and commitment to their communities. With this honor, these students will receive a $1,000 college scholarship and recognition package. The following WCPS students have been named Carson Scholar this year. Carter McDonald, 4th grade, Fountain Rock Elementary. Alyssa Davis, 11th grade, Boonesboro High School. The Carson Scholars Fund also has announced that several WCPS students have achieved recognition status for 2023. These previous Carson Scholars have continued to meet the high standards of the Carson Scholars Fund. They show year after year their leadership both in the classroom and in the community. The following WCPS students have achieved this honor: Justin Grapenstein, 7th grade, Northern Middle School. Hunter Lau, 10th grade, Boonesboro High School. The following students could not join us this evening, but also received this recognition: Sarah Freshour, 11th grade, Boonesboro High School. Nora Keller, 12th grade, Smithsburg High School. Madeline Mills, 9th grade, North Hagerstown High School. Emma Waite, 11th grade, Boyd J. Michael III Technical High School. Congratulations to these students.
Mr. Stopper, to your, there you go. And 1, 2, 3, one more, 1, 2.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Mrs. Hopper, and congratulations to all of our Carson Scholars. Last but certainly not least, the Special Education Citizens Advisory Committee has a special recognition for staff this evening, and Dr. Jennifer Webster will set the stage for the committee chair to present this year's award winners.
Good evening. As Dr. Savine mentioned, we are here to acknowledge and recognize some amazing special educators in our county. Washington County is filled with awesome staff who work on behalf of our students receiving special education services, and it is our pleasure to present this year's CCAC Awards to our staff members. And I would like to start by introducing Mr. Steve O'Farrell, who has served as our president for CCAC this year. It is actually his graduating year, so Mr. O'Farrell's youngest child is graduating this year, so he is graduating from CCAC. We are sad to see him go. He has served as our CCAC chair for the last 7 years, at least. We were trying to count. He's really put a lot of time and effort and commitment into ensuring the engagement of our staff and families. And Mr. O'Farrell, we want to acknowledge and thank you for all that you have done to support special education in our county. And so I'm going to start with a surprise award to you. So in recognition of your service, we have an award for you first. And now Mr. O'Farrell will present the awards to our other award winners.
It was unexpected. Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the 6th annual Washington County Public Schools CCAC Awards ceremony. As Dr. Webster said, my name is Steve O'Farrell. I'm the current CCAC chair and outgoing chair as well, and we are delighted to be here at the school board meeting tonight to celebrate excellence in our schools. I would first like to thank all of those who served on our awards subcommittee this year, as well as our leadership group, our co-chair Angie Aldridge, who's here tonight, our secretary Holly McDonald, April Kohar, who is our complex liaison. We thank you for all of your service this year in those leadership positions. Tonight we honor 8 outstanding individuals for their contributions to the special education community of Washington County. Each of these gifted and unwavering individuals have been chosen by their peers, the community, and the members of this committee to receive these high honors for the 2022-2023 school year. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" For our honorees tonight, the answer is loud and the answer is clear. They are all giving their all, and they are elevating special education, and they are enriching and expanding the lives of those that they serve. On behalf of CCAC and the greater community of Washington County, thank you for all that you do, and congratulations again on these honors. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Melissa Brunson to the podium as she would like to say a few words.
Just want to thank and recognize the staff for their commitment to students. I'm excited to be joining Washington County Public Schools. I've been here for about a month, and it's been really exciting to visit the schools and see our wonderful staff work with our students. So I just wanted to acknowledge that, and also acknowledge the parents for supporting us and supporting your child's education.
Thank you, Dr. Brunson. While CCAC regularly honors those in a small collection of fields, there are those individuals who have performed extraordinary works or services that meet with the standard of excellence. These works may not neatly fit into one of our categories, but the acts of these 3 extraordinary individuals we honor tonight are worthy of recognition and shining examples of what one can give of themselves. At this time, we would ask that Casey Kissner, Cynthia Logston, and Brenda Reynolds come to the front to receive their certificates, their citations of excellence. Cassie Kissner is a special education content teacher and case manager at Morgansville Elementary School with 15 years of experience within WCPS and a master's degree in special education. When asked what her students have taught her, she said, "I have learned that each and every student truly is unique, and if you meet their needs and have high expectations for them, they will all succeed, and that even the smallest successes are worth celebrating." For extraordinary contributions to the special education community, it gives me great pleasure to announce that Casey Kissner has earned a CCAC 2022-2023 Certificate of Excellence. Cynthia Logston is a special education teacher at the Boyd J. Michael III Technical High School. She has 16 years of experience within WCPS and holds a master's degree in special education. When asked about her students, she wrote, "I always tell my students that my favorite word is confidence. If you have confidence in yourself and your abilities, you will be amazed at how successful you can be. This does not come without effort and opportunity. For extraordinary contributions, it gives me great pleasure to announce that Cynthia Logston has earned a CCAC Certificate of Excellence for this year." Finally, Brenda Reynolds is a paraprofessional at Marshall Street School and Job Development Program. She has 13 years of experience within WCPS and holds a bachelor's degree of science as well as numerous training certifications. Among other distinctions, Ms. Reynolds has spearheaded the Career Closet event at HCC for the last 2 years with a team of special needs students. This year's event collected over 1,000 articles of clothing and hosted 244 visitors. For extraordinary contributions to the special education community, it gives me great pleasure to announce that Brenda Reynolds has earned a CCAC Certificate of Excellence. Congratulations to you both. Do you want to stay up as we go on? Okay. This year, we honor 5 distinguished individuals for excellence in their fields. Among nearly 100 nominees this year, these 5 rose among all others and are not only a credit to their professions and their teachers, but models for those to come. Each has demonstrated a significant and profoundly positive impact on the children and families they serve, and each brings enormous pride to Washington County Public Schools and the community at large. At this point, we would ask that Terry Gantz, Robin Jonette, Beth Serbaugh, Yvonne Ford, and Janine Horst please come forward. The Friend to Special Education category was established to recognize those individuals either within or outside of WCPS in Hagerstown that support or provide services or volunteer for special education causes. Terry Gantz is a rehab and recovery program director at Shepherd Pratt in Hagerstown. She has 13 years of experience, multiple certifications and degrees, and is also an active volunteer in the community. When asked why she chose her field of work, she wrote, "Growing up, I was lucky enough to have a supportive family as well as others that showed me how having people who believe in me allowed me to take chances. So I wanted to be that person for others. I wanted to be the hope for someone." It gives me great pleasure to announce that Terry Gantz is the CCAC 2022-2023 Friend of Special Education of the Year. Congratulations. Robin Jonette is a speech-language pathologist at Lincolnshire Elementary School. She has 29 years of experience and a master's degree in speech-language pathology. When asked what she learned from her students, she wrote, "We must be in constant contact with each other, gathering ideas from each other. When things are confusing, asking the parents for ideas, sending these things home so families can follow through at home in the natural environment. It has definitely taught me that we all are on our own paths and we have different perspectives, goals, and dreams." It gives me great pleasure to announce that Robin Jonette is the CCAC 2022-2023 Service Provider of the Year. Congratulations. Beth Serbaugh is a special education paraprofessional at Boonesboro Elementary School. She has 23 years of experience within WCPS and holds an early childhood certificate. When asked what she has learned from her students, she wrote, "The students that I have worked with over the last years have taught me tenacity. They have taught me to never give up and that we need to push on no matter the obstacle we may face, and when we reach a barrier, we will find a new path." I've said that to my sons like 3 or 4 times. But anyway, it gives me great pleasure to announce that Beth Serbaugh is the CCAC 2022-2023 Paraprofessional of the Year. Congratulations, Beth. Yvonne Ford is a special education case manager at Smithsburg High School. She has 16 years experience within WCPS and holds a master's degree in special education. She wrote within her application that she has a deep passion for combining education and psychology, advocating for inclusion in all aspects of the school experience, and exposing students to a career or furthering school beyond high school. When asked to describe Yvonne in one word, Principal Timothy Eskridge said meticulous, and added that her depth of knowledge and preparedness in all aspects of her job is unparalleled. It gives me great pleasure to announce that Yvonne Ford is the CCAC 2022-2023 Case Manager of the Year. Congratulations. And finally, Janine Horst is a special education teacher and reading specialist at Boonesboro Middle School. She has 12 years' experience within WCPS and has a doctorate in education. When asked why she chose to work in the field of special education, she wrote, "As a special education teacher, I want to contribute each day in the classroom, and my mission is to give my students the joy and confidence to achieve their goals and reach their full potential." When asked to describe her in one word, Principal Justin Bright said compassionate, and added that she cares deeply about her students' well-being, sets high expectations, and will not let them settle for anything less than their absolute best. It gives me great pleasure to announce that Janine Horst is the 2023-2024 CCAC Teacher of the Year. So again, on behalf of CCAC, we want to congratulate all of our winners. It's been a pleasure to serve as a chair for all these years, but I think we're in good hands moving forward. So thank you all for coming tonight.
Mr. O'Farrell, I just want to thank you for your leadership. Certainly, I extend my appreciation to you and all the members of CCAC, and also want to extend my congratulations to all of our special ed staff members that were recognized. And I thank you for recognizing excellence in special education. President Williams, members of the board, that concludes the recognition segment of my report.
Thank you, Dr. Savine. We'll allow a little bit of transition time here. We'll get things in place. This is the portion of our business meeting where we provide for public comment. So at this time, I would like to read from Policy KD regarding procedures at business meetings. Each person wishing to address the Board of Education is encouraged but not required to sign up prior to the meeting and may address any topic concerning Washington County Public Schools except personnel or student matters which clearly identify an individual or individuals. Each speaker may speak for up to 5 minutes. We have Mrs. Murray as our timekeeper this evening. Mrs. Murray, would you like to explain how that works?
We have 30 seconds left. I will hold this up. When your time is up, I will hold this up.
Thank you, Mrs. Murray. I have no one on my list of individuals who have signed up in advance. Is there anyone else who would like to come forward to speak during public comment? Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Ethan Lowen, and 4 weeks ago, I spoke to the county commissioners and discussed the harm that social media is causing our children. that next week I spoke to the school board and also discussed the harm social media is causing students, and that proficiency in all 4 core subjects of education is necessary in order to equip children to protect themselves from the psychological harm of social media. Then, 7 days after that, which was 2 weeks ago, the Surgeon General issued a report and gave a national warning about the damaging effects of social media. This report is 19 pages of data saying what parents all over America have been coming to school boards like this one for the last 2 years and talking about. And it makes sense that would be the case, since the Surgeon General began his interview on CBS News by saying, quote, "I am speaking as a father." While the damage that social media causes children is the primary subject of the report, it uses the subject of social media as an entry point to discuss several society-wide issues that are contributing to depression. A major finding is that from the ages of 10 to 19 years old, the development of the brain during those years makes the negative aspects of social media incredibly difficult, if not impossible, for the adolescent brain to not be harmed by it. Social media addiction has been seen to cause the same physical changes to the brain as drug and gambling addictions cause to the brain. It then states that in regards to childhood depression, cutting off social media completely comes with as much as 40% of the benefit as one-on-one therapy sessions. Think of the millions of parents spending countless hours and dollars and tears trying to deal with their children's mental health issues, and all this time, just unplugging from social media could resolve a large portion of the problems. Even though the only mention of public schools in this report is that they should warn students of the dangers of social media, I would step out of the context of this report for a moment and suggest that it is clear that our public schools should become social media-free zones. Next, the report takes an interesting turn and discusses that social media use increases ADHD diagnoses. It's interesting how it's worded, however. Why did they point out ADHD? When just about every mental health issue is increased through social media use, and ADHD has become a diagnosis that is hardly noteworthy anymore. I believe it's fairly straightforward. ADHD is the diagnosis that created the precedent of selling pharmaceuticals as a cure-all for whatever is bothering you. It started as Ritalin prescriptions for ADHD in 1991. That led to the acceptance of antidepressants and the explosion of those prescriptions for children and adults especially, followed by the explosion of prescription opioids, and now the use of transgender pharmaceuticals. By highlighting that ADHD can be increased by habits such as social media use, it begs the question that since behaviors that we choose can increase or decrease the rates of psychological disorders, has the level of acceptance that we as a society have grown to have with drugs caused more harm than good? In 2016, the trade magazine of the pharmaceutical industry called the Pharmacy Times published a paper in which they determined that 80% of the drugs that are prescribed without having proven to the FDA that they solve the issue they are advertised to solve, which is called selling drugs off-label. The Pharmaceutical Times determined that 80% of the drugs sold off-label lack enough scientific evidence to make even a weak case that they solve the issues they are being sold to resolve. And the most common drugs sold off-label, according to the Pharmacy Times, are antidepressants and antipsychotics. And the latest set of drugs to join the past and present Hall of Fame list of commonly sold off-label pharmaceuticals, along with ADHD, opioid, and depression drugs, it's now transgender drugs. Even though I am only mentioning a few of the issues that this report puts a spotlight on, what the Surgeon General and his staff are pushing for in this report is for us to question, in light of the dysfunction that the mental health issues of teenagers has reached in our society. We have to question whether government policies, pharmaceuticals, and now, when it comes to transgender students, the surgeon's scalpel, that have taken an ever greater presence in our children's lives at the expense of the family connection, on balance, were they ever beneficial? Or is it possible that the policies from government, bureaucracies, and pharmaceuticals and surgeon scalpels are actually a cause of many of the mental health issues? And what social media is guilty of, actually, is just accelerating the speed with which those already existing trends have been harming America's children. So what can we do? As mentioned earlier, the need for our schools to become social media-free zones is clear. Additionally, the war against parents that certain politicians and school boards, such as this one, have been waging has decimated the welfare of children. So when at the last board meeting, one of the board members referred to the parents speaking in defense of their children and all female athletes in our schools, and the school board member referred to them as McCarthyites, the Surgeon General and his staff have made it clear that parents have been correct the entire time, that parents are the solution, and it is imperative that the government institutions that believe that they should have ever larger roles in the lives of children need to reshape themselves to assist parents, not to decide how children should be changed, which is why this report is best summarized by the Surgeon General's statement when he discussed this report by saying, "I am speaking as a father." Nothing about that statement nor anything in this report was included by accident. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Lowen. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward to speak? Good evening. Could you tell us your name, please?
Isadora.
I'm sorry.
Isadora
Isadora, and your last name?
McCarty.
McCarty. Thank you. When
If you
you're-
won't listen to the parents of the children, maybe you'll listen to the children. My name is Isadora McCarty, and I'm a student and athlete at Washington County Public Schools. Following this track season, I have a few concerns regarding transgender individuals competing in high school sports events. I've not run in competition with a transgender individual, and with that being said, I'm not speaking about this just because of a personal experience, rather as an advocate for biological girls. In no way am I targeting those with gender dysphoria, and I understand it could be a very challenging and uncomfortable feeling to live with. But why should the way they feel come to challenge science? Boys and girls are separated for one reason and one reason only, the biological differences. Allowing transgender athletes to compete in girls' sports has and will continue to rob biological girls from the fairness of their sport, opportunities to show their true strength, awards that they have earned, and even going as far as robbing them of their position. Like I mentioned before, I have not run in competition with a biological boy, although I have been at loss of a position because I simply cannot compete. At international competitions, transgender women who have went through male puberty no longer can compete in women's events. Taking that into consideration, let's not only prioritize biological women and girls at the international level and prioritize them everywhere, because women deserve the fairness they have fought so hard for. I'm also here to speak about the transgender individuals changing in the opposite bathroom than their born gender. Why, as a 15-year-old girl, should there be a possibility that my first interaction with a penis will be in the girls' locker room? And I say that loosely because at this point, what makes the girls' locker room if anyone is allowed to go in? Going off of that, if a genetic boy feels uncomfortable in the boys' locker room, why are the genetic girls expected to feel comfortable with a biological boy in their bathroom and vice versa? Although I have science to back this up, I know that there will be people to say I'm biased and transphobic. So I asked a couple of anonymous individuals to give their personal experiences and opinions on this topic. The first individual stated, "There is already a struggle for many girls in the locker room and being comfortable changing in front of them, so why is it that they are now expected to be comfortable with biological boys being in their presence while they change? Not to mention, these young girls already have to be on guard in this day and age for things like kidnapping, rape, etc. And I'm sure you have heard in the news in Virginia of a 9th grade biological girl being sexually assaulted by a biological boy in the bathroom. I'm not saying this is the intention of all transgender individuals, but the safety of the students will always be put first, should always be put first." The second individual stated, "As a biological girl, I have failed over and over to compete with a biological boy. Whether it is in the 1600 meter, 800 meter, 4x8, and even the high jump. I have been deprived of multiple chances to show off my work from practice. I have been replaced before my races. I have been put down for not being as good. I understand a biological boy might have better times and higher jumps, but when will you stop putting the scores behind the person at a higher importance than the person behind the score?" And the third individual stated, "As a high school student, I am made uncomfortable knowing that I have to change in front of the presence of someone of the opposite gender. Although they might be in the process of transitioning from one to the other, that gender is still determined by the sexual organs that they have. I don't feel that teens should be expected to be comfortable being unclothed around someone of the opposite sex, especially when it is drilled into our heads since we could walk, that those parts of us are meant to be covered. I also recognize that the very point of changing rooms is to do just that. But there's a difference between doing so in front of another girl in comparison to a biological boy. By pushing it to be allowed, you are expecting teens to maturely handle an adult issue. Plus, there is the issue of being dishonest and giving an easy way for dangerous people to get victims in a vulnerable position. In closing, I would like to reiterate that I am in no way against transgender individuals. Rather, I am just an advocate for myself and girls my age. Take note of my use of the term girl over woman. If after that you're choosing to call me transphobic, you must be okay with me calling you cisphobic. But at the end of the day, neither of the two should be used because everyone's feelings should matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McCarty. Is there anyone else who'd like to come forward to speak?
I give it to you?
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. My name's Tina Routson. I'm once again addressing the Welcome to My Class questionnaire with the question, your pronouns, on it. At the last board meeting, I asked the board a question. I asked every one of you to help me find the policy on this matter, the year it came into effect, and if any parents were involved in the making of this policy that the principal and legal team said they are allowed to ask. As I said, I have not been able to find anything where a teacher can ask a student. I have been able to find where a student can confide in a teacher, but not the other way around. I also found the Family Education Rights Privacy Act, which I gave you a copy, stating that students cannot be compelled to provide private, personal, and medical information. This question on this questionnaire is very compelling. It is a very invasive, private, sexual question that is not needed to teach academics. Seems more like the teacher is grooming for their own personal interest, not making every child feel comfortable in the classroom. The principal didn't even know the question was being asked. At the last meeting, a public comment was made about teaching kindness. Maybe that should start with the teachers by omitting this question, because what does a teacher do with this information in a class full of 20-plus students? Think about that for a moment. 20-plus students. No one is special, all are special. As of today, I have received no response from anyone concerning my request for help to answer this question. Where or what do I need to do to find this answer? Do I need to send another email to everyone? Should I do like the Clear Spring Band did and bring more parents with me to speak out? Maybe the legal team could help me. Lastly, I'd like to ask the board to take a good look at House Bill 119, because that will be my next speech. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Mrs. Ratson. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward? Good evening.
My name is Jeff Routson, and I was here last time and asked a question about the Pride poster in Boonesboro School in the hallway. And I guess I'm going to direct this to you, Dr. Savine. Have you followed up on anything? I would like to know, because I have no answers from anybody yet, and I'd like to know how I get an answer. That's my question. I'd like an answer, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Routson. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward? Okay, that ends our public comment. This time we'll have board member response to public comment. Colleagues? Mrs. Murray?
I want to say that I agree with you, Mr. Lowen, about social media. Children are being given phones very early in life, and I don't think they should be. People are addicted to their phones. I see people out in the audience all the time looking at their phones during meetings. It's just like this addiction where you have to look at it all the time. There's a report also that says that young children should not have any kind of screens be exposed to screens for too long of a time, because that causes attention deficit disorder. But yet I see kids everywhere in the grocery store and everywhere. People are sticking screens in front of their faces. I mean, how about a book? So I agree with you on that. And parents can put controls on phones. I know that because my grandson has controls on his phone. He's not allowed on social media. He only has a certain amount of screen time, so it can be done. So I think maybe parents need to look at this a little closer and maybe do their part as well as what you're saying for the school's part. And Ms. McCarty, I agree with you as well. Thank you for coming up and speaking. You did a very nice job, and I agree with you, so thank you.
I actually wanted to praise Isadora, right? Yeah, and and I don't want you to feel like we're not listening. A lot of this is exactly what this is for, and definitely all of us are listening to the concerns and deciding what we're going to do as a board, what we can do as a board, and I'm sure you'll see some. Well, I don't want to speak for the rest of the board, but I do have some ideas about ways we can move forward, because I think the issue right now is it's confusing, and it's one of those areas where we're looking for guidance from organizations above us, and I think some of the guidance they're giving is conflicting and confusing. And so I want to find out exactly what process they're going through, because I agree with you. And I hate the fact that you have to start your speech saying I'm not transphobic, and you have to state that several times, because this is a conversation that we're having, and I don't think it should be immediately assumed that you are. I think and so I really appreciated your comments. And is there a way, if you feel comfortable, I'd love to get an email of them. And so if you see Debbie afterwards and get her email address or something, that would be great to get a record of your comments.
Thank you, Mr. Bickford. Mr. Evans?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, echo Ms. Murray and Mr. Bickford. Isadora takes an awful lot of courage to come up and speak as a young student like that, so we certainly appreciate that. I have some very significant concerns about boys participating in girls' sports. Thankfully, you are not in a contact sport, where if you did have to do that is a concern, but it doesn't change the fact that it doesn't level the playing field when there is a boy racing against you. So I know there are, I don't want to say there's laws, but there's certainly rules that come down from the state that say certain things, but where there's a will, there's a way, and I do hope that we can work with our legal team and look at some specific policies to be changed or added if need be to go and rectify the situation. She's absolutely right about the bathroom as well. If that's the way it is, then we need to figure out a one stall bathroom or whatever, and then at that point it doesn't matter. There's only one person at a time in there. So we need to look at that. If they're going to force our hand and allow that, well then we need to work our way around that for our kids' sake. As far as the pride flag goes, I know I did ask. I actually forgot about that, so thank you, Mr. Routson. I don't know if you were able to look for the answer, if you forgot about it like I did, but my understanding is that that's only to be displayed during the club time. And then I also thought that question was removed from the teacher as well, so I don't know if you could speak to that, Dr. Savani.
That is a matter that has been addressed, and I will be glad to prepare a letter to the constituent to address that specific question, but those matters have been addressed. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Is there any other comment? Okay, thank you, colleagues. This time we'll begin old business. Our first item of old business is the second reading of Policy DN, disposal of surplus, salvage, or obsolete equipment and/or materials. And we have Mrs. Ram with us here at
Thank-
the table.
Thank you, President Williams, members of the board, Dr. Savine. The Board of Education approved the first reading of proposed changes to Policy DN at its public business meeting on May 16, 2023. Following the approval, the Policy Committee posted a notice on board docs and the school system's website seeking comments from stakeholders on the proposed changes. The committee has not received any comments on the changes it is recommending. The committee is now recommending that the Board of Education approve the second reading of proposed changes to Policy DN.
Thank you, Mrs. Ram. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move to approve the second reading of proposed changes to Policy DN entitled Disposal of Surplus, Salvage, or Obsolete Equipment and/or Materials.
Thank you, Mr. Bickford. Is there a second?
Second?
Thank you, Mrs. Murray. Any questions, any discussion? Okay, then we'll move to the vote. We're voting to approve the second reading of proposed changes to Policy DN entitled Disposal of Surplus, Salvage, or Obsolete Equipment and/or Materials. All those in favor? All right, we have 6 affirmative. So that motion has carried. Our second action item under old business is the second reading of Policy GBLA, personnel records, background checks, and disclosures of employees.
The Board of Education approved the first reading of proposed changes to Policy GBLA at its public business meeting on May 16, 2023. Following the approval, the Policy Committee posted a notice on board docs and the school system's website seeking comments from stakeholders on the proposed changes. The committee has not received any comments on the changes it is recommending. The committee is now recommending that the Board of Education approve the second reading of proposed changes to Policy GBLA.
Thank you, Mrs. Ram. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move to approve the second reading of proposed changes to Policy GBLA entitled Personnel Records, Background Checks, and Disclosures of Employees.
Thank you, Mrs. Bickford. Is there a second?
Second?
Thank you, Mrs. Murray. Any questions, any discussion? All right, we'll move to the vote. We're voting to approve the second reading of proposed changes to Policy GBLA entitled Personnel Records, Background Checks, and Disclosures of Employees. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. We have 6 affirmative. Motion carries. All right, our third item is the second reading of proposed changes to Policy JEB, pre-kindergarten.
The Board of Education approved the first reading of proposed changes to Policy JEB at its public business meeting on May 16, 2023. Following the approval, the Policy Committee posted a notice on board docs and the school system's website seeking comments from stakeholders on the proposed changes. The committee has not received any comments on the changes it recommended at the first reading. The committee is now recommending that the Board of Education approve the second reading of Policy JEB with minor additional changes that provide clarity and are nugatory. The committee is recommending a change to the definition section because of a recent change in state law brought to the committee's attention after the first reading. That alters the definition of a Tier 1 student. A homeless youth is now recognized as a Tier 1 student. Accordingly, the committee updated the Tier 1 student definition in the policy and modified paragraph 4A2 to strike "and students in transition," because students in transition, those are students that are homeless, no longer need to be identified separately since they are now considered Tier 1 students by law.
Is there a motion, please?
Madam President, I move to approve the second reading of proposed changes to Policy JEB entitled Pre-Kindergarten.
Thank you, Mr. Bickford. Is there a second?
Second?
Thank you, Mrs. Murray. Any questions or any discussion? All right, we'll move to the vote. We're voting to approve the second reading of proposed changes to Policy JEB entitled Pre-Kindergarten. All those in favor? All right, we have 6 affirmative. That's a unanimous vote. That second reading has been approved. We have a final second reading this evening. And this is the second reading of the rescission of policy GBEF, health and safety, tobacco-free school premises, and policy JHF, health and safety dash students, and the second reading of proposed policy ADD, health and safety.
The Board of Education approved the first reading to rescind policies GBEF and JHF, and the first reading and proposed policy ADD at its public business meeting on May 16, 2023. Following the approval, the Policy Committee posted a notice on Board Docs and the school system's website seeking comments from stakeholders on the proposed rescissions and policy. The committee has not received any comments on the rescissions and proposed policy it is recommending. The committee is now recommending that the Board of Education approve the second reading to rescind policies GBEF and JHF and the second reading of proposed policy ADD.
Thank you, Mrs. Ram. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move to approve the second reading to rescind policy GBEF entitled Health and Safety Tobacco-Free School Premises, rescind policy JHF entitled Health and Safety Students, and I move to approve the second reading of proposed policy ADD entitled Health and Safety.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Stauffer. Are there any questions, any discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the second reading to rescind policy GBEF entitled Health and Safety Tobacco-Free School Premises, rescind policy JHF entitled Health and Safety Students, and to approve the second reading of proposed policy ADD entitled Health and Safety. All those in favor? Okay, we have a unanimous vote of 6 in the affirmative. Thank you, Mrs. Graham. Our final action item under old business this evening is the consideration of the proposed modified fiscal year 2024 general fund operating budget. We have Mr. Prue, our Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Brandenburg, our Executive Director of Finance, and Mr. Sisler, our Budget and Finance Manager.
President Williams, members of the board, I'll first want to take the opportunity to thank you for your attention to detail and your thoughtful engagement through this process as you prepare tonight to take action on the modified FY24 budget. It's been grueling for many of you, just individual meetings earlier today, had a very meaningful work session led by our finance team, and also through this budget process, the first time in memorable history, this board, along with the Board of County Commissioners, met 3 times to engage in conversations to highlight the many successes of the Washington County Public Schools system, as well as talk about the budget needs, in particular, the needs regarding staffing and salary. I just want to commend this board and staff, but in particular the board, for remaining true to your 4 priorities in this budget process. Those were, number 1, combating inflation, number 2, focusing on staffing needs for safety and security, mental health, behavior supports, and special ed, as well as a salary compensation initiative, and then meeting the requirements of the blueprint. So I extend my appreciation to you. Also want to extend my appreciation to Mr. Prue, all of our finance team members, as well as the many departments that are represented in the back tonight that have provided support to you and the superintendent regarding this process. Mr. Prue.
Thank you, Dr. Savine. Good evening, members of the board. I think I'll be brief in terms of the matter that's in front of you, since we discussed it at length just a few short hours ago. But for the greater community, we are back here to look at an amendment to the Board of Education's approved FY24 budget, in part because our request to our funding partners at the Board of County Commissioners was denied, and the funding level for the Board of Education this year is at the same level as FY23, which left a $7,054,000 shortfall in our budget. Staff presented for you today a number of alterations, modifications, reductions to the budget that the board had previously approved. That budget is balanced now with those amendments at $340,219,240. Staff is here and available to answer any additional questions you have, maybe that you've thought of since this afternoon, and we would seek your approval at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prue. Is there a motion, please?
Madam President, move to approve the proposed modifications to the FY 2024 General Fund Operating Budget.
Thank you, Mr. Stauffer. Is there a second? Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. So this is the time for questions or any discussion.
Yeah, I'll be brief with my comments. If we got the extra money that we originally asked for, then, I think that was a reasonable budget. If this is a bare bones budget that we need to operate on, I personally would like to see some changes to what we're asking for staffing and everything like that. I certainly do not disagree that we have certain needs. I just think that we're putting some of the wrong priorities first. So therefore, I personally cannot support this budget as it's written.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Any other discussion?
Yes, I just want to thank staff for their hard work. We've had to rework this budget several times, and you've come up with something that I think is going to work for us. It's not what we wanted, but it's what we've got, and I think you've done a wonderful job, and I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Murray. Anyone else have any comments they would like to make? Okay, seeing none then, we have a motion and a second to approve the proposed modifications to fiscal year 2024 general fund operating budget. All those in favor? Okay, we have 5 affirmative. Those opposed? 1 in opposition. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, to new business. Our first item of new business is this evening's consent agenda. We have Mr. Scott Bakewell, Supervisor of Purchasing, with us this evening. Good evening.
Good evening, President Williams, members of the board, Dr. Sovine. Tonight I have 8 items for your review. These items have been reviewed by our Purchasing Review Committee and are being recommended for approval. And staff is available if you have any additional questions.
Thank you, Mr. Bakewell. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move to approve awards, renewals, and procurements of high school science core resource renewal to Discovery Education at an approximate total cost of $113,827.50. Backup as a service and disaster recovery as a service to CDWG at an approximate 3-year cost of $364,520. Heating oil supply and delivery renewal to AC&T Company, Inc. at the bid factors listed. Portable renovations at Fountaindale Elementary School and Williamsport High School to Milton Stamper Builders at an approximate cost of $374,000. Boonesboro High irrigation well connections to Negley's Well Drilling Incorporated at a cost of $79,519. Automatic temperature control replacement at North Hagerstown High School to Control Systems, Inc. at a cost of $637,900. Professional design services kitchen remodel at various schools to Nochler and Hall Associates, Inc. at a cost of $129,350. And administration services for the vision insurance to iMed Vision Care LLC at a cost of 41 cents per employee per month.
Thank you, Mr. Bickford. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. Any questions, any discussion? No? Okay, then we'll move right to the vote. We're voting on Mr. Bickford's motion to approve the awards, renewals, and procurements as read by Mr. Bickford. All those in favor? All right, we have 6 affirmative. Motion carries. Thank you. We have an approved consent agenda. Our next item of new business is a memorandum of understanding by and between the Board of Education of Washington County, the Board of County Commissioners of Washington County, and Meritus Medical Center, Inc. Good evening again.
Thank you. The Board of Education owns certain real property located on Yale Drive consisting of about 70.88 acres. Meritus Medical Center, Inc. expressed an interest to the board in purchasing all or portion of said real property. The board has determined that about 28-acre portion of the property is not suitable for future school construction, and subject to the approval by the state superintendent and the Maryland Interagency Commission on School Construction, intends to and shall deem the property surplus. Upon receiving state approval and deeming the property surplus, the Board of Education intends to and shall transfer the property to the Board of County Commissioners of Washington County, who will immediately sell and transfer the property to Meritus Medical Center, Inc. The purpose of the memorandum of understanding is to set forth the parties' understanding of the transaction and to confirm and document their agreement as to the steps to be taken to sell and transfer the property.
Thank you, Mrs. Ram. Did you want to say anything before? Okay. Do I have a motion, please?
President Williams, I move to approve the memorandum of understanding by and between the Board of Education of Washington County and the Board of County Commissioners of Washington County and Meritus Medical Center, Inc.
Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Stauffer, I heard you, so I'll take yours as the second. Thank you. Questions? Comment? Any discussion? No. Glad we could bring this to a conclusion and a very happy result by all parties. So, all right, we're voting.
I do want to make a clarification, especially for my grandchildren who might be watching this. Children's Village will not be disturbed.
Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. We are about to take a vote on Dr. Zentmeyer's motion, Mr. Stauffer's second, to approve the memo of understanding by and between the Board of Education of Washington County, the Board of County Commissioners of Washington County, and Meritus Medical Center. All those in favor? All right, we have 6 affirmative, a unanimous vote, motion carries. Thank you both. Okay, the next step in this is a resolution pursuant to Education Article Section 4-115, the Annotated Code of Maryland.
The next step in this process, since the MOU has been approved earlier today by the Board of County Commissioners and just now by the Board of Education, the board now has to approve a resolution of that determining from that about, okay, plus or minus 28.04 acres. I get accused of doing that lawyer approximately number. And since we've agreed to deem that property as surplus, upon declaration of the property being surplus, the Board of Education must secure the approval of the state superintendent and the Maryland Interagency Commission on School Construction. Pending the approval of the IAC, the board will transfer the surplus property to the Board of County Commissioners of Washington County as required by state law for eventual transfer to Meritus Medical Center.
Thank you, Mrs. Rand. Is there a motion?
So I move to approve the resolution declaring approximately 28.04 acres of certain real property located on Yale Drive as surplus property.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Stauffer. Any questions or discussion? Okay, then the vote will be on Dr. Zentmeyer's motion, Mr. Stauffer's second, to approve the resolution declaring approximately 28.400 acres of certain real property located at Yale Drive as surplus property. All those in favor? Excuse me. We have 6 affirmative. That's a unanimous vote. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you both. voice came on and the cough begins. I apologize. Okay, our final action item under new business is the fiscal year 2023, that is our current budget adjustments today. Budget. We have with us Mr. Brandenburg. Mr. Brandenburg?
Good evening, President Williams, members of the board, Dr. Sovine. You have before you tonight some budget transfers that we would like to make. These adjustments cross major categories. Therefore, if you approve them tonight, we will take them to the Board of County Commissioners for approval as soon as possible. These adjustments were discussed with the Finance Committee meeting on May 17th. They represent higher special ed costs, higher substitutes, and other costs offset partly by savings in utilities, vacancies in several areas, and just some additional revenue. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer those.
Thank you, Mr. Brandenburg. Is there a motion, please?
Madam President, move to approve the proposed FY 2023 budget adjustments as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Stauffer. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Moore. Any questions, any discussion? Okay, we're voting to approve the proposed fiscal year 2023 budget adjustments as presented. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. We have 6 affirmative. It's a unanimous vote. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Brandenburg.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me. This time we'll have the second part of the superintendent's report and the superintendent's update. Dr. Savine.
Thank you, President Williams, members of the board. Tomorrow, Wednesday, June the 7th, is the last day of school for students. I'd like to remind everyone that students will be dismissed 2.5 hours early tomorrow. I'm sure parents are wondering about report cards. Teachers will be entering grades this week after students start their summer break. Report cards will be posted online in Student View and Parent View. And for all students, report cards will be posted on Friday, June the 9th at 2 p.m. If you don't have a Parent View account, please contact your child's school to request access. Hard copies of the report cards will be printed the following week, and they should be arriving at homes the week of June the 19th. So again, tomorrow is once again a 2.5 hour early dismissal for students. Look for report cards to be posted online this Friday by 2 p.m. I'll just say this school year has flown by, and it's been an honor, and it has been a pleasure to serve as a superintendent of Washington County Public Schools. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I'm so impressed with our students, our staff, and our community supporters. I'd like to thank the board for your leadership and your support as we continue to work together, maximize resources, and move our school district forward. I'd also like to thank our incredibly talented and dedicated staff. I'm very grateful for our community partners. Together, we've been able to give our students unique and enriching learning opportunities that are invaluable for their future. I can't wait to see what's in store, certainly next year. And I'll be remiss if I didn't conclude with some graduation comments. One of my favorite aspects of being a superintendent is participating in our high school graduations. We get to see firsthand a new chapter beginning in the lives of our students each year this time. I'd like to share some of the highlights from our recent graduation celebrations. Because so many of these celebrations occur on the same night, we had some help from our students and staff to capture all of these memories. Now at this time, I want to share a video that our communications team has pulled together.
last 13 years, we have gotten on a bus to come to the first day of school and then celebrated that final bell on the last day of school. We have achieved so much in this first part of our lives and become the people that we are supposed to be. So here we are, 13 short years later, at the final event of our high school careers. We are graduating. We have done it. I am proud of all of us.
As a member and representative of the Washington County Board of Education, I recognize that these students have earned all the rights, the privileges, and the honors associated with a Maryland high school diploma.
I take pleasure in declaring the graduating class of 2023 for the conferring of high school diplomas.
It is with great joy that I now declare you graduates of Clear Spring High School. Congratulations.
A better way to conclude tonight's superintendent's report. I would be remiss if I didn't extend appreciation to Mrs. Anderson and all of our communication team members and our staff, certainly in our schools, and congratulations to all of our 2023 graduates. That concludes my report this evening. I remain available to answer questions and welcome comments from board members.
Thank you, Dr. Savine. Okay, at this time, we'll have this evening's personnel action. We have Dr. Webster, our Associate Superintendent for Administration and Leadership, here to present.
Good evening, Mrs. Williams, members of the board, and Dr. Savine. Earlier during closed session, we shared several staff changes for your review. At this time, I ask for your approval of today's personnel actions.
Thank you, Dr. Webster. Is there a motion, please?
I move to approve the personnel actions dated Tuesday, June 6, 2023, as presented in closed session.
Thank you, Mrs. Murray. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Bickford. Okay. We're voting to approve the personnel actions dated today, Tuesday, June 6, 2023, as presented in closed session. All those in favor? All right, we have 5 affirmative. Those opposed? 1 in opposition. Motion carries. We have approved personnel actions. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Webster. Okay, we'll have reports to the board next. We'll have our committee reports. Curriculum and instruction.
Yeah,
Dr.
it's hard to
Zumwalt?
follow Dr. Savine's video, but I'll give it a shot. The curriculum and instruction met yesterday at North High. We had literacy updates by Carly Pumphrey, which the data was really, really wonderful. Using CKLA and the science of reading, we see that we've made many positive strides in all of our students learning to read. The Family Life Advisory Committee report was presented by Eric Michael. It's important to note that we do not indoctrinate, we simply define. North Hagerstown high updates included what they're doing with safety and security. They're together as one slogan, creating opportunities for all students and a vision to include more in IB, more students and a broader base. We had blueprint updates, and it was a rich conversation that I can only say thank you, Dr. Willow, for your leadership there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. Finance Committee, Mr. Evans.
Yeah, we met last month in the middle of May and discussed a bunch of stuff we voted on tonight. We will, I think we still have some renovations that we'll be voting on in the future with some of our kitchen upgrades, unless we finish them this week. But we had that, and then we talked about a couple other things, the budget transfers and the status of a bunch of our grants that will be ending here shortly. So.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Human Resources, Mrs. Murray?
Yes, we won't be meeting again until September 12th at 1 p.m. in the CES boardroom.
Mr. Bickford? Policy Review and Development Committee?
Policy Committee is meeting at the end of June, June 29th. That's a Thursday. It'll be at 1 o'clock in our board conference room.
Thank you very much. All right. Takes care of our board member committee reports. Under miscellaneous business, per usual, we have a list of future agenda items coming up at our second June meeting, our final meeting in June. We will have some recognition of the Maryland Accelerates participants. We'll have an action item on the proposed closing of Fountain Rock Elementary and Hickory Elementary Schools, and a vote on the 2023 Educational Facilities Master Plan. That's what we'll be doing to end June. Colleagues, if you have anything that you would like to see on a future agenda, please let a member of the Agenda Planning Committee know so we can take care of that for you. That brings us to board member comments. Mrs. Murray, would you like to begin this evening?
Sure. As the video showed us, last week was a great week for WCPS, and especially to be a board member. I was honored to officiate the Barbara Ingram School for the Arts and Marshall Street JDP graduations, and to attend the Apprenticeship Awards and signing and the Fire and Rescue Academy graduation. But today, I started my day as a guest of Matthew Crowhair and the Crowhair family at Morgansville Elementary for the 5th grade recognition, and it was really special. So being a board member, doing these things, it's wonderful. I enjoy it, and it's a great way to wrap up the year.
Thank you, Mrs. Murray. Mr. Bickford?
I too enjoyed attending Smithsburg's graduation. A whole lot of purple, but it was a really great ceremony. And Dr. Webster and I were sitting next to each other, and I'll admit we got a little verklempt, right? So it was a really nice ceremony, and I really wish everyone a fantastic summer break. It's been quite a year, and so I hope they really enjoy it, and we'll continue doing our work as will you. But I know kids are really excited. My wife's a teacher. She's already out, and you know it. So, and thanks for a great day of meetings.
Thank you.
Hard to believe it's been a year,
Yeah.
almost. I really didn't think about it until you said something about it. If you'll bear with me, I'm not very good at posting things on social media. But along with other board members, I did attend the Apprenticeship Awards and signing at North High. Of course, you know we have the #1 apprenticeship program in the state. I also attended, along with other board members, the Washington County Family Center graduation celebration. Tomorrow night, I and other board members will be at the retirement celebration of WCPS employees. And I will be out here on Thursday night for the Educational Foundation scholarship presentations and so forth. And last but not least, I was the board representative at the Williamsport High School Senior Awards Night, and I also attended the graduation ceremony as a board member. I was not a board member at the awards assembly or awards event. I was a Lions Club member and person who donates to an award. That's another story, and so forth. But I was very impressed with the kids from Williamsport. As I shook hands with them, they all said, I won't say all, but most of them, 90-some% of them said, "Thank you," or "Thank you, sir." And I was very impressed with that. I mean, they didn't have to say anything. You know, I'm just another person standing there that they want to get through to get their picture taken and so forth. And last but not least, I'm not going to dwell on this point, but as a former history teacher, and I still read a lot of history, today's June 6th, and 70-some years ago, they hit the beaches at Omaha and Utah, Gold, Sword, and Juneau Beach and so forth. The U.S. divisions that hit the beaches at Omaha were the 1st Division, and it's called that because it was the Army's 1st Infantry Division. That's why it's called the 1. And the other unit that hit the beaches at Omaha was the 29th Infantry Division. And that was a Maryland National Guard unit, and Company B from Hagerstown was part of that division. I don't know how many men from Hagerstown actually hit the beaches in the first wave and so forth. The 4th Division then hit the beach at Utah Beach. Anyhow, having said that, I've often wondered as a history teacher, as I taught the students about the various aspects of World War II, and I'd always try to have a video or something. I've often wondered what went through the minds of those men as they rode those landing craft into those beaches. What was going through their minds, knowing that when those planks went down, they were going to hit withering fire like you wouldn't believe. They're going to have to wade through water perhaps a little bit and everything. And knowing that within minutes, seconds, they could be dead. And so to those men, that is something. And when I got to the 1st Division in Nam, one of the things, they give you a pep talk. Anyhow, long story short, one of the things that we were reminded of was the fact that we were joining a division that was in the first wave of Omaha Beach. And it went on. And we were reminded of the 1st Division motto, which is no mission too difficult, no sacrifice too great. And we were told they expected us to carry on the tradition of the 1st Division and so forth. But I've often wondered about that. I just can't imagine what that would have been on June 6, 1944. And thank you for bearing with me.
Thank you, Mr. Stauffer. Mr. Evans?
Well, I was going to talk about Omaha and everything today as well, but Mr. Stauffer said it very well there, so I'll leave that part at that. Dr. Savine, finished your first school year here, and as you saw tonight, we don't necessarily always see eye to eye. Not everyone could be right, so I appreciate you taking the hit from me. But sorry, bad joke. But no, it's been a pleasure working with you for the first year. I look forward to more. We may not necessarily always agree, but we're able to have dialogue, so I do appreciate that. And I too got to go see Hancock High School graduate as well, and got to see, since Mr. Bickford was talking about some tears flowing there, we got to see the salutatorian Aiden Faith give her tear-jerking speech as well. So it was a good day for everyone across the county.
I got to go to Clear Spring, Antietam, and Job Development Center on Marshall Street, and they were all three so different and so wonderful, as you could tell from that great video. But I want to talk about, I read the text that we approve in our school, and I'm obviously stuck in chemistry. I think I get smarter just by carrying the book, or at least stronger. It begins with the study of change. And that's what I want to say to our seniors who have just graduated. You're in that period of change. But what I learned next in this book was that in 1960, the splendid light, laser, was discovered. So that ties in another word for our graduates, shine. But even more importantly, focus your light. You can do more with a laser than a light bulb. Congratulations, seniors.
Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. So as I've been a board member for 11 years, and this was my first opportunity to be at South Hagerstown High School's graduation. And I was so impressed. What a great looking class. And as I said to Principal Gaiman, such promise walked that stage. And 280 students, I believe, was the count. It got to the point where I thought they had begun to recycle them up the ramp. It was just an incredible number of students. So as Mrs. Murray has said, it's one of the best things about being a board member to be able to attend graduation. So I look forward to attending the retirement celebration tomorrow evening. I know some of my colleagues and Dr. Savine will be present there as well. So I'd just like to end by saying, for me, it's been a great school year. And I hope that all of our teachers are ending their school year feeling successful, feeling fulfilled. And I wish all students, staff, and teachers a very safe and happy, restful summer. So, Dr. Savine, do you have any last words? Colleagues? Okay, then we are adjourned. Thank you.